Tara and Seneca was on his way. I didn't want to start him, get off the bus running here and sort of where we got halfway through. So we'll just see how we go. Thank you for coming out tonight. I know that it's a big deal coming out in the evening these days, and also Halloween just isn't on my radar, so I do apologise if I have taken you away from trick-or-treating. My son was 28, and when he was young, when I was young, Halloween was something that Americans did not, Australians. So, but it's such a big thing now. So anyway, so I do recognise that this evening is probably not the best option, so note it for next time, though by that time you guys will be on your next stage of your journey with your So let's we'll begin as we usually do, and I'll invite Tara and Tristan to lead us in prayer and our acknowledgement. So on the screen, you're welcome to stand here, or if you'd like to stand. Over to you.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Heavenly Father, as a way us to this land, help us to follow in the footsteps of St. John Paul II, the greatest to open the doors to Christ. Give us the grace to be not afraid, to be people of Christ, to uphold the dignity of all, for the life of mercy, service, and justice. We ask the intercession of God through his humble servants, St. John Paul II, and St. Mary of the Cross, that help us make Jesus Christ the centre of all that we do. We make this prayer through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. St. John Paul II,
pray for us.
St. Mary of the Cross,
Pray for us.
In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
On behalf of all present, I would like to acknowledge the Dark people and the traditional custodians of this, their homeland, on which we now live. As we acknowledge them, we are reminded of the importance of place, or the country for everyone. Country, in this sense, becomes the place, which brings people together in relationship. Place helps us to have a common purpose, depending on each other to move forward. Finally, we acknowledge the Dark elders and ancestors who were and continue to be the storytellers of this place and its people. They help us to know our country and people of the past, help us therefore understand our present opportunity and use this to shape our future.
This thing, I thought that it'd be nice to begin this evening by inviting Tara, Seneca, and Tristan just to address you as our new college leaders. I'll give them a little bit of a brief and of a check that they can say that I trust them. So just so you got to know them a little bit and why they're our leaders and some of their aspirations. I won't say Mike's not holding on the mic. No, don't shout.
Good evening. I don't need mic. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tara.
I'm so happy to address you as one of the 2024 college captains. This is actually my first address in this role, so I want to start by sharing my commitment to you all. What makes me so proud to be a leader of this school is the commitment to making people feel welcome. And it's something that I cherish in my learning and I intend to foster even more here. I make it my goal to show up in a caring way. It makes me so excited to think of all the fun improvements we're working on within the leadership team, and looking around at how much this grade has grown as we enter our final year, I see so many strengths. Talented students, people who love the community, people who celebrate diversity. While we've achieved great things as a cohort, there is room to grow. I challenge everyone here to take opportunities while they're here, because we are good enough, and we deserve to make these memories in our last year. School leader aside, to give you some student insight on the prelim course that we just finished, I found the community aspect and the involvement with my peers and teachers the most rewarding part. Taking these opportunities has been a scary feat, but it is so rewarding. In Year 12, I also have some goals of my own. I want to spend more time with my friends and family, explore career options in STEM, and feel prepared for the HSC, as I'm sure many of you can relate. Lastly, thank you, parents, and to our community for trusting me, and I look forward to achieving these goals with our program. Thank you.
Good afternoon, parents, teachers, and students. I am the mission leader of St. John Paul II Catholic College for 2024. and I'm deeply honored to share a few thoughts on my aspirations and duties here at the HSC College. In our journey through life, we as students and even parents and teachers all carry dreams and aspirations within our hearts. As a school leader, aspirations of the students of this college are embodied and represented. Aspirations for knowledge, personal growth, and success are of paramount importance. But let us not forget the aspiration to cultivate a spirit of service and compassion towards our fellow beings. As a mission leader, my duties encompass a sacred responsibility. It is my calling to guide and inspire students, not only in their academic pursuits, but also in matters of the soul. Our school's mission is to provide an environment where faith and learning intersect, where the pursuit of knowledge is coupled with the pursuit of higher values. I'm very excited to anticipate greater success in our fundraisers, larger and more impactful projects, and improved communication between our dedicated staff and you parents. I plan to work very closely with the religion team to uphold such values within the college. Looking back at year 11, it was definitely an eye-opening experience for the majority of students here today. We had to act, adapt, and attempt very differently than previous years. As we begin the HSC course, it's pivotal that we reflect on our preliminary exams. And I can most definitely say that my report card definitely says a lot about how I need to improve next year. Whether or not this feeling was mutual amongst my peers, it's significant that we keep moving forward and use this memory as a tool for our success. This whole process is very rewarding, and although it may be stressful or exhausting for students to work hard, it'll all be worth it. One final year in the graduating class of 2024 can break through such constricting limits. Together, our college can create an environment where student spiritual aspirations are nurtured alongside student academic ambitions. This college is not just a place of books and lectures, it's a place of shared values where we can learn not only from textbooks, but from each other's experiences and beliefs. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sanika, and I'm elated to be addressing you for the first time as one of the 2024 college captains. I want to start with my commitment as one of your leaders. I've been given the opportunity to lead with care and involve myself with excitement, and I fully intend to make everyone in our school feel welcome the way previous captains did for us. A fun fact that I've noticed about our grade is that we thrive at communication. We love to connect, and I think that we can use this to help each other. I know that a lot of us were very stressed going into the prelim exams, and I think that with this grade's love of connection, we can really work together to help each other foster this spirit of support. School captaincy aside, something that I loved about the prelim course was just saying yes. This year I said yes to as many things as possible and managed to sign up for a Korean performance contest. It was absolutely terrifying, but so gratifying at the same time. However, with this in mind, I do have a few more goals going into 2024 and in 2012. I want to master the balancing act of extracurriculars, school, captaincy, everything. Find some time to actually rest in between studying and feel prepared for the HSC. I'm sure that we can all relate to having to feel like we have to hold everything we have in our hands when there's always a bag that we can put it down into. Finally, thank you for trusting me to lead you all into the next year, and I'm so excited to work with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so glad I did that because they're such beautiful leaders. We have a wonderful SRC team in our 2023-24 cohort, so it's a nice opportunity to have that. Put together a bit of a mix of things for you tonight. Obviously, we'll go through some of the NESA-related requirements and not everything. So if you were here earlier in the year, stage 6 is all sort of the same. So I've tried to pull out some areas where I've picked up that there might be some need to just some clarification based on the preliminary course. Plus, Mr. Kroon and Mr. Watson are going to speak about where they sit within the wellbeing framework of the school. So one of the things that we are always working towards, and I think Tara, Senika and Tristan captured this quite well, is that we pride ourselves on being dedicated to reaching high standards or striving for high standards and high expectations, but with that level of support. Because what we know as a community is that if we challenge and support students to stretch themselves, whatever that may look like for them, then they will feel successful and the achievement will come after it. So what I suppose part of that is, if there's anything that I can say in terms of advice, it's like to all of you students and to you people who aren't here today, is give everything you've got. And if you need help and you're not sure, you need to ask the questions. I've worked at a number of schools over my 30 years of teaching. Fortunately, I've worked at most schools where the staff are really dedicated. But our teachers here are more than willing to give up time in the afternoon, to meet during studies, and to respond via emails and online to students and families if there's any concerns. And you can always pick up the phone and call any of the assistant principals. So Mr. King's here today. Mrs. Taylor's an acting assistant principal at the moment, and myself, and obviously the stage team are here for you and for each other. Because together we work as a partnership and we are stronger in that way. So for us at the college, as you know, we've sort of got these few drivers of learning that sort of speak to very briefly. One of the things with the HSC, particularly for those students who are doing quite academic or heavy content courses, is this idea that we must ensure, or we do ensure, that each of you, each of your children, receives the explicit content instruction that they need. However, this only works if there's learning and study at home. So I know that many of our students, and as we heard from our leaders, have really high aspirations for where they want to go next, but that has to be coupled with not only support from us, but unfortunately or fortunately, we don't sit the HSC or the assessments, so it's important that the students themselves are on top of all of that. We really focus on a student-centred learning. So I'll bring up a picture and a slide in a minute. That comes from earlier in the year where we looked at our home study routine, the idea of mastery and consolidation. And the idea behind that was to ensure that your children, you're at year 12, 2024, you were ready for what was to come in the HSC. So student-centered learning means that you have to do some of the learning yourself, so that it's focused on asking questions, inquiry, students working together, collaborating in order to be the best they can be in each of their courses. Teachers are always giving feedback. So year 12, as you know, so I know each of you will probably have a conversation with every one of your teachers over the course of the last couple of weeks about your preliminary results. Yes? Nod at me, please nod at me. Your preliminary results, because what they're doing is they're working out with you where to next, making learning visible. Where are the gaps? How do we fill the gaps? Because if we don't fill the gaps from what was missing or missed in the preliminary, success in the HSC course is even harder. So obviously we're layering up, we're levelling up into all that. So we're focused on feedback that requires our students to think for themselves, but also know what they need to do next, or what they need to go back and revise. So at home, in terms of the support you might provide, would be to check in around how much time they're spending, revising the feedback, while how they're using it. A quick story, a number of years ago now, I had a student that I spent ages marking, it was an extension English paper, marking their paper, heaps of feedback. And I handed it back, they looked at the mark, screwed it up in a ball, and threw it in the bin. Needless to say, I was really upset. So, because what we do as teachers is we take time to put that feedback on, or to have the conversation. And feedback's not just what's written on your paper, year 12, it's every time a teacher comes and asks you, why did you write that? What did you think of that? Can you do that in a different way? How do you move forward in that way? You know? So that's feedback in your lessons every single day, as well as any written typed feedback as well. So make sure you're using that feedback, because that's how you improve. Because, as Einstein told us correctly, if we continue to do the same thing in the same way, we're going to get the same results. That's a very bad paraphrase, but we know we have to do something different if we want something different. And I think that's some really great strategies that they're implementing in the class I'll talk about. We are always working to improve assessment. A bit later I'll just sort of touch on a bit around AI because that's going to be our next challenge in terms of malpractice. And study routine. Every student, if you were here beginning earlier in the year, I mentioned that every senior student has at least 4 study periods a week where they can be in a study room. Some of them have more than that. They can use the library. Some of them are doing courses outside of school via online courses. So there's space in the day, in the school day, some days, for them to get on top of work, assessment, to set up the study routine. But I can guarantee you 12 families, that the students who are most successful, if we're talking about marks or even about personal success in terms of personal goals in whatever course they're going to, are the students that are committing some time outside of school to being on top of the work, revising, refreshing. And for those of you, and I'm looking around the room, and I'm pretty sure across the board, talking to most of you who are aspiring from ATAR to go to university, remember the HSC is not just about the 114 students in your cohort. It's about the 20, I think it's like, I don't know, 26,000, more than that actually, that's a very understatement. The huge number outside of that. Students who do the best, I'm not saying 8 hours a day, but students doing the best are going home every day and they are doing something to build their understanding. They're putting in practice papers, they're asking their teachers for more feedback. Mrs. Hay was sharing a story with our maths team yesterday, I think it was only Tuesday, so yesterday, about a student who she taught who came second in the state in mathematics advanced. And quite it says it wasn't her, it was that student, because what they did, almost to the point of killing her, was constantly ask for more papers, ask for more feedback, ask for the revision, ask for the help. You know? So sort of kill us with your kindness and desire to do better. And that's where the self-motivation. So you might have a goal, and as your parents will tell you, a goal is no good without a strategy. Yeah? Yes, I might have a goal in order to get to it could be anything. It could be a goal around health, it could be a goal around your achievement, but if I don't do anything about it and I just get up and keep doing what I did yesterday, I'm not going to achieve that goal. Yeah, so you have to think about what it is. And on Thursday, is that right, sir? On Thursday, we've got the Art of Smart presentation, so you'll have a speaker come in. We did all the Elevate workshops in Year 9 and 10 to help you build those study skills. They will be there to help you and to remind you of some of those strategies you can use. So just a few things to think about, because the learning journey is not about us giving you everything on a platter. We can do that. We can give you 1,000 handouts. We can't read for you, we can't write for you. So it's about having that motivation and independence to do something for yourself. And at the end of the day, students who are most successful in life beyond school, whether it be in TAFE, the workplace, at university, are students who, or young people, who have their own motivation to get where they want to go and put that time in. So it's not just about marks at school. So I've referenced this before, so earlier in the year I showed this slide which is about what the preliminary framework looks like. This idea that for every 100 minutes of a subject you do at school, you're spending 40 minutes at home either doing some flip learning, so your teacher should have been setting you some pre-reading or preparation for whatever's coming up, and then doing some mastery-based learning. That means consolidation, rereading, note-taking, practicing. learn the formula your maths teacher gives you, go and find something that's a little bit more challenging to do. Although the framework per se is not part of this need to have extra hours in our mandatory hours, that was about making sure that you knew you had a study routine. So I won't embarrass and say how many of you actually stick to your 40 minutes or your 2 hours at night, but you can use all your study time effectively. Go back. That's all right. So just reminding you that that's where you've come from, so you want to keep doing that. You want to keep that routine up. And some of you already have hopefully reflected on how you went in the prelim and throughout that course of the last 3 terms and know whether you need to add a little bit more time at home or whether there's areas that you might have spent more time on. You know, for me, I always love doing I know I'm an English teacher, but I love doing my maths homework, which you just stick with the formula and build through that. And I didn't particularly like doing my chemistry homework. And that showed in my results too, but that's a whole other story. That's very much ancient history now. So where are the areas that you need to put a little bit more time into in order to be more successful and to get your achievement? Because in the HSC, if you remember, 10 if you're going for an ATAR, if you're not, then that's you just want the HSC to look the best you can, but if you're counting your ATAR towards your ATAR, every subject counts. So I want to talk about this because I mentioned before that Mrs. Hay and I met with the maths team, and we meet with all of the Year 12 teachers at different times, twice a term, and we talk about what we call teaching sprints. So a teaching sprint or a learning sprint is where teachers identify an area that needs improvement and put into place small incremental practice change. So it might be something like, if you are in standard English, I can tell you that your sprint, the sprint the teachers are focusing on is using sentence equations, I believe this does. So build the student's capacity or ability to write strong, focused sentences that meet the requirements of the HSC. In Maths Advanced, we're going to start focusing on ensuring a deep understanding of algebra and how that's applied. In Maths Standard, they're going to be looking at how working with you to identify word problems and the sneaky little words. So I'm taking Mrs. Canning's focus away here. But they have taken the time to look at your results, and the student's child's results, to say, what do we need to do, what can we do in very short bursts? Now, you guys will be getting some of this from the prelim as well, in very short bursts to build strength in the responses across the board, across the whole class. So the idea, this comes from a guy named Simon Breakspear, but the idea is that we do these little bits now and we keep building on them. So it's like the moss on the stone. You roll it along and it gets bigger and the change occurs. So we're narrowed deep. Doesn't mean all the other stuff doesn't happen. It just means that you might be focusing. PE, you're going to be looking at deconstructing questions and working out which syllabus dot point the question is related to. Because what we've picked up is that some of our students are not so strong on the content, need a bit more general knowledge, need to know what they're answering and why they're answering it. Maths are also going to do their sticker thing, which I was sort of just charge them to Zach and was showing to us the other day, in terms of identifying areas of strength and personal weakness. And part of this is this thinking protocols, so that it's the student in the classroom doing the thinking, doing the work, not just the teacher. The teachers, they're doing the prep. I always think when I teach, my work should be happening in terms of the preparation outside the classroom, so that when I'm in the classroom, it's about listening to the students, responding to them and getting them to do the work and the writing or the responding and the collaborating. So just thought I'd let you in. Boulder, pebble, sand is about the boulder being what's the really big thing we need to change. Okay, we need to improve, we want to improve student writing, we need more sophisticated. The pebble is what's the level under that, with paragraph structure or evidence or structure. I'm sorry, I'm choosing English because that's my bread and butter. And the sand is that little bit that I spoke about. Where do we start? What are the bits of sand we put in to build up? It worked really well last year. We saw some great results and improvement in last year's, as in 2022 cohort, hoping to see something similar when we get the results from the current 2023 cohort, and then just continue to build this, and we're backwards mapping this idea through 7 to 12, so that we're not having to put in the notes, but narrow repeat is our plan. We always talk attendance. So I thought I'd leave this in here. One of the things we do know is our attendance is not very good. I am going to assume, because you are here, that I'm talking to the converted. So, but attendance, we really want to improve that attendance across the board. And it's interesting how it's easy to think, oh, it's only a day here and a day there, and how quickly that accumulates. And one of the things we need to remember too is it's not just about the results, because obviously it affects everything in connection. And sadly, I've had, throughout the course of my teaching career, had to work with some students who started to drop off in their attendance to a point where they were no longer resilient enough or strong enough or able to come to school anymore, and have to look for other solutions, other ways of being educated. Because once we get out of the routine, it's really hard to build that routine. And that obviously has flow-on effects into the workforce, into labour life. So we don't want that for each of you or any of our students and our families. We want to ensure we can support you as best we can within the school day and the school structure. So just keep in mind that things accumulate really quickly, and that in the classroom is the best place for the learning, because that's where you get to interact with the teacher, probably more importantly with each other, get the explicit instruction I spoke about before, clarify understanding. I know when I give feedback to students in writing, I can't say nearly as much or be as clear, I think, as I can from having a conversation. Because it's in the conversations that we ask the questions, or the students ask the questions about what do you mean by that. They can do that in writing, but it's much harder to write that out, because sometimes it's about talking it through. So, as I said, I'm probably speaking to the converted here. The collaboration is really important. Students learn really well from each other. Right, any questions of anything I've said so far? I'm going to invite Mr. Watson and Mr. Christensen to speak to you now. Have a break from me.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Cameron Watson. I'm the acting head of Stage 6 through student learning liaison of Stage for the Year 11 cohort moving into Year 12. Welcome this evening. What we want to talk about this evening is about the welfare of the student, but also to working in partnership with the Stage 6 team, the parents and the students working together to achieve the best possible outcome for them, but also to making sure that we're looking after their mental well-being. So I've just provided, I want to talk to you about a few notes that I've made, and please bear with me. As we embark on the exciting journey of the senior year, I want to take a moment to address the critical importance of building well-being and ensuring the support and success of our senior high school students. This year is filled with both challenges and opportunities, and together we can make it memorable and a fulfilling experience. The senior year is a significant chapter in the student's life that can be filled with stress and high expectations. We understand that you are not only focused on your academic achievements, but also on the decisions that will shape your future. This can be overwhelming, but please remember we're here to support you every step of the way. I want to stress the importance of self-care. While we encourage hard work and dedication to your studies, it's equally important to maintain your physical and emotional well-being. Make time for hobbies you enjoy, exercise regularly, cultivate a support system of friends and mentors who can guide you through challenges. Parents, your role in your child's senior year is invaluable. I talk about this from experience. My son went through just after COVID he graduated, those decisions helping him through and also helping him move forward from those can be a very stressful time for a family. So I totally understand. That's why we want to have that dialogue with the students. We have the open door policy. If there is an issue with a subject, with mental health, with anything, we're not psychic. So the fact is that open dialogue helps us virtually to help you. So what I'd like to think about is encourage open communication. Be a source of encouragement for your student. Lend an empathetic ear when your child needs it. Senior year can be demanding and your unwavering support is vital. To ensure a successful senior year, here are some key points to remember. Time management. I think we can all do a bit of that sometimes. Help your child manage their time effectively, balancing coursework, extracurricular activities and personal life can be challenging. Mental health. Pay attention to your mental health. If you or your child experience stress, anxiety or other emotional challenges, reach out to the stage team and counsellors. We're here to provide support. Building resilience. Understand that setbacks are part of life. Encourage your child to build resilience and learn from failures. Celebrate achievements. Don't forget to celebrate accomplishments, no matter how small. Senior year is filled with milestones, and these celebrations can boost motivation. This year is more than just about academic success. It's about your personal growth, building lasting memories, and preparing for the future. We're here to support you and help you achieve your goals. Together, we can make this a year to remember. Please feel free to reach out to the stage team if you have any concerns or need assistance. Let us work together to ensure the well-being and success of our Year 12s. As I said before, that partnership of us as a stage team with the families and the students, we can get through this very stressful year of HSC and push them towards where they want to be for next year. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
So, a few things, as I said, this is all about the requirements of NESA. I spoke to this earlier in the year, but just sort of wanted to go back over a couple of points and a few things that have sort of stood out for me in that learning zone for in the prelim that we need to tighten up a bit. We know all of this. So firstly, I uploaded today the Year 12, 2023, 2024 assessment booklet, an assessment planner to Compass, so that's all completed. It's under the Year 12 tab, and then next year we'll transfer it so that it's all where it needs to be. So you can access it through the little community icon, school documentation, and then drop down to 2023, Year 12, and you've got the assessment handbook, assessment planner. I'll show you a quick snapshot of that in this moment. Special consideration application, and then there's appeals form also in that folder as well. So what we're providing is the full booklet that has all the requirements outlined at the very beginning of it. It's quite lengthy, it's got every single subject in it, as well as the course grade descriptors or the band descriptors, so you know that getting to the band 6 is sophisticated extensively, whatever the verbs are for each of those subjects, so that will help as a guide. So when you say to your teacher, we're looking at your results, 12 you go, I don't understand why I only got 10 out of 20. You can go to the prescriptors, marking criteria, and that will give you an idea of your levels. And then we've also provided it's just a really simple planner, so 1 page per term that just goes week by week. This is actually this term, as you can see, and I've just cut off weeks 1 to 6 because there's no formal assessments in those weeks, so just a snapshot of the whole year is there. Now there is a caveat on this, there may be times when these weeks or dates might change, but we have a requirement by NESA, and we always fit within that, but we try to give as much. If we have to change anything, students will know least 2 weeks before the original due date. And with the teams, the learning area teams and the subject teachers, I was kind of working, if they're going to change something, it should be later, not earlier than the original due date. When the assessment notifications come out for each of the tasks, as you will know from this year's experience, and year 7 to 10 will give a more specific date within that week. So you can now, year 12, go home tonight, don't go trick-or-treating, set up your study timetable and see where your assessments are. So, or at some point in the not too distant future, because you'll get back from retreat next week, and then that's week, where are we now? Week 5 done, and then your first assessments are here 2 weeks after that if you are in any of those subjects there. But that's available on Compass. I know in the past the stage team would print these out and put them up in key places. I'm sure per term, so I'm sure they will do that as well, I'm sure. So it's a nice overview. Right. So in the assessment booklet, the bigger, it's like 92 pages, bigger, chunkier one, you also get, I've just put the actual tasks, you get the details around the outcomes and the different things that are focused. But this information is expanded in the booklet. I bolded 2 key areas because I think these, we need to highlight these. HSC procedures, you just follow instructions of your teachers, you turn up, you do everything, you'll have that under control. Special considerations I have, and it's interesting coming, I'm getting sick of talking about COVID, but interesting coming out of COVID, and I think we've just had another, from what a bout of a lot of people being unwell, not necessarily COVID and influenza. This procedure is really important. Because one of the things that we have to do as a school under our guidelines from NESA is to, the best of our ability, ensure a level playing field for all students within each of their subjects. And that includes a level playing field for somebody who is unwell or can't make an assessment. So this process needs to be done in a timely way. So if you are unwell, genuinely unwell, then you can put in a special consideration. And it needs to come in with a doctor's certificate or relevant professional practitioner's certificate the day that you return. Some students are really conscientious and things get sent through via email while they're off unwell. That way we can make an assessment as to how to manage that. Generally speaking, if a student misses any class task or gets late due to illness, then their work will be marked, but it will be considered an estimate because it's not being done under the same conditions or at the same time as their cohort. And then we have a look at that result at the end of the process against like-type tasks to ensure that the result they get is reflective of their ability and what they've learned and can demonstrate. If a task is completely missed with no explanation, unfortunately that's a 0. So the evidence is really important and it has to come in. You can give it to your subject teacher. You can hand it in at the office and then it'll come to me or to the leader of learning for that subject area. And then it goes through the approval process and then they will manage that and let you know how that's going to, what the outcome is, sorry. I think I've just said all of that about creating the right tasks. Misadventure, I don't think all this is defined. I'll come back to that yet. Misadventure could be something like, unfortunately we've had some people who have had some really unfortunate things happen. There might be around, just trying to think without disclosure, but so a young girl, HSC, somebody was stalking her and she just was so stressed out that she couldn't make it. So she's okay, by the way, but, and did most of the exams. But she got a police report and different things like that. Misadventure could also be that I've had somebody with their house is broken into. As though things happen, unfortunately, in this world. Misadventure is not, my computer broke last night. Yeah? Or Misadventure is not, oh, I didn't read the task notification correctly. That's just not being organised, okay? So we all use Google Docs, so you should be able to access your work anywhere. Paper and pen are always really good as well. So, and illness needs to be quite genuine. So I say, if you can be here and you can do the task, then please do without having to do. So I just noticed that this year, and it could just be the year, as I said, coming out of COVID, different bouts of illnesses, things going around. There seems to be a lot of students putting in for special considerations. I'll sign off on all of it, but we just need to get a bit tighter around that because we want to make sure, always want to make sure that every student has the right, same playing field. Yeah. The other part of that too is that taking a day off before an assessment is due, I think I put that under malpractice, is technically considered malpractice. So if you go, oh, you're going to come to school, really have to write that essay, then that's actually technically malpractice, and we should really be asking for a doctor's certificate. Now, what value a doctor's certificate has sometimes, it's obviously that's your discretion. It's obviously pretty easy to get hold of. So just a couple of examples of malpractice. So year 12, at the beginning of, or the end of year 10, remember you did the all my own work modules? Yes, joyous things, yes. That's a requirement of NESA, talks about all the different types of malpractice. We have to sign off on that you've done it, so that you know that you have some knowledge of what malpractice is. But some of the things that students have got caught out on, it happens every year, collusion. When you work together or you give somebody work, what I've seen happen is that a really trusting, supportive student will give their mates access to their Google Doc or something they've been working on because they've said, can you give me a hand? And then next thing we've got 2 responses that are the same. And then as a school, our job is to try to navigate whose work is it? Who does it belong to? There are times and places in 12 where you share your work and your documents, and it's really powerful to work together. But that's not on a task that you have to submit. It's on the work beforehand to build the understanding and to build the capacity in the writing or whatever aspect it is you do. So that's really important, right? Because that's a really hard place for us. You know, we generally know whose work it is, but this day and age when we're all working on Google Docs and we're working online and we've got easy access and sharing capacities with one another, it's very easy just to go, oh yeah, that's fine, I'll show it to you. I probably do that. Here you go, take what you want. But don't take it really. So just be really careful. Talk about absence data for. Generative AI. This is all, as you would probably understand, ChatGPT and all that is all the talk at the moment in education and across the world. Powerful, powerful tool. My husband uses it to write his emails and tells me. So it's much better than he is in it. But we all use it too. It's an amazing resource. The power that platform has to draw from, I don't know, whatever they're up to, billions of sources over the last however many years it is, and I'm going to try and pretend I know all statistics, is excellent for you to be able to find out information. Also, Grammarly, it seems to be overtaken Grammarly. People used to use Grammarly to check the syntax and punctuation and things like that. So it can be really powerful in that way. But it cannot think for you. And I can tell as a teacher, by being looking at your work and what you're writing in class, whether it's your work or their work. And what I picked up is it's not very good at writing in a way that a HSC student needs to write for an exam. The other thing is ChatGPT is not going to be sitting in your exam seat or your assessment seat. We are rethinking what assessment might look like in order to see how we can harness the power of generative AI, but also to ensure that what's being submitted belongs to the student. Because, once again, we're back at that level playing field, in that you'll have those students, and the majority, who know, have some ethics around their work, and there's an ethics question here as well, and will submit their own work, and then those who will cheat. Let's call it for what it is, it's cheating. You know? There's place times and places to use it. I have a friend who uses it in her business to check things, and she does copy editing and things like that, just to generate different documents and then proofreads them. That's okay in most of it's your work. So the question is always going to be for us, particularly in this day and age, it always has been, is it your work? Is it your work? And look, it's nothing new, it's just a different platform. You know, when I was at uni, people would buy essays and submit them from people. You know, like, it's always, cheating happens. What I'm saying to you though is remember, when you have to think about what's your moral integrity, where are your ethics in this space. But by all means, use ChatGPT and generative AI to help you garnish the resources that are there. So don't use it, just think about it when it comes to actually submitting work. Make sure it's your own. Because at the end of the day, when you go for an interview, or you're sitting in a university hall, or you're sitting in the HSC, or you're working with your boss and you're doing your task for your apprenticeship, whatever it is you're going to do, it's got to be you. They're going to be looking at you. You're answering those questions. You can't say, let me just put that question into ChatGPT and then I'll read it to tell you what it says while you're sitting in an interview. So just think about that. We want you, as young people, and our future, to have the critical thinking skills to be able to make a difference for yourself and a difference for each other, a difference in the world. Just keep that. Probably nothing new here. Talked about policies all in there. When you get an assessment task, Year 12, make sure teachers should be break it down for you. But if you have any questions, ask the question when you get the task and as you're preparing for it, not the day before it's due, so you know you're working in the right direction, so you're not going back, well, that's all I thought it said. So make sure you're using that, use your teachers to your advantage, use your peers as well, but make sure you check what your peers say. There's a lot of research around that 50-60%, I'll probably have that wrong, of what students hear from their peers is actually inaccurate, but they believe it. So check things against the teachers and the information in the syllabus. Lots of advantages. I'm looking at post-trials reinstating. They had used to do a late Wednesday study in the library. Did you use the library, miss? Or a room, one of our rooms.
Sometimes.
A late study afternoon. So the option of reinstituting, putting that back into place, sort of fell off before the last cohort, but so that there's that option to be able to stay at school. Some people like to do that, stay at school, work till 5 or 6 o'clock, supervised study on your own stuff, so that then you can go home and you're half an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, a study that you need to do a day. So we'll talk about that. You've got your other study periods as well. And we give you feedback so you can feed forward. Lastly, I just want to talk a little bit about just the alert to this. I was out to dinner on Saturday night, and my friend's daughter's in Year 12, just starting Year 12 as well. And another one of the puppies said their daughter's in Year 12, and they were talking about this whole space around early offers and early commencement offers, early offers, and how you do all of that. Mrs. Fitzsimons, who couldn't be here tonight, she is the Director of Careers and Pathways. She puts out a newsletter a couple of times a term that will have careers newsletter, but it's not that has things in it around apprenticeships, careers, things from UAC, and she pushes it out to all parents as well as to students. And it also sits in the Google Classroom. Correct on the name? Yeah. Just to start with this with Year 12. So keep an eye on that. The application process for early offers, so going to apply for an early offer, usually commence around April. You put in what your results are from your prelim, and things that are really favourable that the universities love when they do this are community service hours. They're in the right place, so look out for those opportunities. So the community service hours. Macquarie's really big on community service hours. You usually get a reference or recommendation from a teacher to say, yes, the student's capable of doing university or will be a good student, as in will be able to retain in stay in that space. And Mrs. Fitzsimons is available. So a really large part of her role is meeting with students. And she tends to, I think, she probably would have met with all of the outgoing current U12s or U12s has finished actually at least once. And I know she has a queue at a door, help me with what do I need to do around my subjects, I want to do this course at university or this course at TAFE, how do I do it, what does it look like? She's got amazing knowledge around this area, which she's built up over a lot of years. So U12, utilise her, and parents. If you're not sure, you're concerned, you can obviously ring me, if you're in the stage team, but Rasha Fitzsimons usually has all this information at her fingertips or at the front of the mind. So she's a great resource, and look out for that newsletter. So April next year, if that's something, U12, that you are thinking you will put in that application, I encourage all of you. There's lots of different ways to get into university if that's where you're going. Same with TAFE. TAFE offers degrees now as well. That divide between TAFE and university is really morphed or meshed together. But it's a good way to sort of know where you're going. A lot of those offers sometimes also, they say, contingent on your results in the HSC. But at least you're that one step towards attaining or going where you want to go. So, my last message, go to get stronger. So, thank you so much for joining us today, for taking the time. Obviously, shows your care and your support of your child. We are here, as I said, if you need anything, so any time to ask those questions you're not sure. And you're more than welcome to, if you have some questions now, feel free to come and chat to one of us or give us a buzz later. So thank you so much.